So, hello everyone. So I think let's start right now. So my name is Ninji Wei, and this is the second session for introducing the Linux server and as well as the CCR. So the last time we go over some basics like the structure of a computer, as well as like the structure of the Linux file system. And after that, we learned some commands that we can use, some basic commands. So there are several things I want to as a supplement to the last course. The first thing is that the first time you log into the CCR, you have to reset your password. And the password is different from like your UB password. So this is the place. If you search online, this, it will open a link and you can change the password there. So last time someone logged in, connected to the CCR, but they cannot go into the CCR because of this. And the second note is that if you have some other questions about CCR, like how to have an account and how to maybe some basic problems with your CCR account, then you can go to this help center. And third thing that there's a video about first session and it has been uploaded in YouTube. You can simply search this Linux server CCR. You can find that. Yes, so this is pretty good for the person that didn't came the last time. So the whole course, there's several sessions for this course, and it can be separated into two main parts. The first part is basics, including the last session and this session. So after these two sessions, you are expected to know how to finish common tasks in CCR. Like you know how to run those basic jobs, and you know how to go different folders, create files, things like that. So after these two sessions, you know how to do all those tasks in CCR. And after that, we maybe have 2 or 3 sessions about some advanced tools, and that we, for those sessions, it will be more convenient and efficient when you're in the console environment. All right. And for the basics, we have some contents. The first one is how to connect to CCR. We already go over that one, so we check it. And the second one is file system operations. So I think we through most part of the second one, but we still need to introduce a little bit. And the third one is some CCR operations. It's main contents for today. So that means how to run jobs in different ways in CCR. And the last one is how to do file transfer. That is, how can you transfer a file from your local computer to the CCR and vice versa. And about advanced tools, we're going to introduce that in the next session. So the last time we end up with a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of commands. So this is a recap. We have several things. First is change directory. So this command will help you go to different folders in CCR or in the Linux system. And second one is list contents. Use this command. So last time we introduced some conventions. So the $sign means all the string after that you need to type into the command. Into the command line to run that command. So third one is print. That means use echo, you can print a string or value of the variable. And third one is how to create a file. You use touch. And how to create a folder, you use make dir, make directory. And also how to remove files and folders, simply use remove rm. And if you want to remove folder, then you add one more option that is -r. If you just want to remove files, then you do not type this thing. And you can move file folders and copy file folders. It's always the same thing. So this a bunch of commands. It's like a recap for the last time we did in the session. And the second part, we also learned some tricks, right? When you do these things, there's some tricks help you to do them more efficiently. So the first thing is how to auto-complete. So you use tab, and it can help you to auto-complete the path you're typing. And the second one is about show some candidates. So for example, if you type S, but there's several folders of files starting with S, then you can double tap. Then in that case, it will show all the candidates. And third one is simply if you have a very long line of commands, then you can jump the cursor to the head of the line or to the end of the line by Control A or Control E. And you use arrow to move cursor, and if you control arrow, then you can move it faster. Right. And the last one is you can actually select the command you inputted before, use up and down, switch them. So I think it's a good, let's start this course by some practice. So it's like a recap of what we did last time. So everyone can first create a folder and create files in that folder, and we may take 3 minutes doing that. If you can connect to CCR, you better like first connect to CCR and do all those things in the CCR environment. So last time we already like introduced how to connect to CCR. I'm here. If you have a question, you can ask me. And also Zach's here. He can also help you guys. Anyone finish this thing? Cool. I don't need to check that. Everyone finish this? Okay, so it's a practice, just like you like warm up to remember those commands. All right. So after learning these things, what we can do is we can like jump to different folders. We can create files. We can remove them, copy them. So the next step is we go one step further. That is, you can use some tricks. The name is called wildcards. So you can apply the what we did here, not just for one file. You can do it for multiple different files. Okay. So the trick here is called wildcards. And we have 3 different wildcards. The first is called star wildcard. So just look at the first row first. So a star in a string simply means it is a string with arbitrary length. It can be 0 or arbitrary length. So this is an example like list star.txt. So it means it lists everything ending with .txt, but it can be anything here. All right. So the second one is you remove this thing. You have star before the exp. You have star after the exp. So do you know like what's the meaning of this one? Yes, it will remove everything that have exp in the middle of the name and ending with dot data, right? So this is very useful called star wildcard. It can help you, actually you can combine this notation with a lot of different commands we introduced here. Like you can move multiple things, you can remove multiple things, you can copy multiple things. So, and the second one is called question mark wildcard. So the difference is if you have a question mark there, it just represents exactly one character. So in this case, if you have list start dot question mark, it means you can be anything up. You can be any characters before the dot, but there's only 3 characters after the dot, but they can be any character. So everyone got this one? And third one is called square brackets wildcard. So it basically means if you have square brackets, and you have a bunch of characters here. So it can be anything inside of these brackets. It's like you put options here, and it can be anything in these options. So we have several examples, like in this case, you have star, dot, x, y, z in brackets, and question mark. It means it can be anything before the dot, and it has to be either x or y or z for the first character after the dot. And there's one more character, but it can be anything. Same thing here, we can list. So there's another way to express the range of characters you want to put it there. If you use A dash C, it means A to C, including A, B, C. Like. And also in this case, list Jones 0 to 9, A to Z, uppercase A to Z, it simply means the file name should start with Joe's. And after that, you have a number, lowercase character, and uppercase character. So these are like tricks. You can select multiple files, filter different files by this trick. So I think let's start practice more, right? It's a continuation of the practice we have had before. So you first copy out files, ending with data, in the folder prac1, practice 1 to practice 2, and use the tricks we learned here. Yeah. You mean the last slide? Yeah. You have two folders, and in first folder, you already created 4 of the files. Yes. And in currently, what you're gonna do is move those 3 into the second folder. So this is the practice. Yeah. Yeah, sure. I don't know how to do it in the double screen. Like I can show you both slides at the same time. But first practice, you create 2 folders, and in the first folder you put several different files, and this is in the first folder. You finished? Okay. So you can copy out files from the first folder to the second folder with like the techniques here. So I think finished? Finished? Cool. No? Go to the, okay. Yeah. If you know that, actually you don't have to like really practice. Okay. Thank you, John. So how to copy? You just use the CP, the command CP, right? And how to select all the files ending with dot data? You just use star dot data. And you use copy. Firstly, you specify star dot data, and the destination should be a prac2, like that. So I think it's a pretty small trick you can practice later. Like maybe spend some time to use to how to type those things in, but basically the concept is very easy. So right now maybe someone already feel like there are too many commands there because it's not like you just use the mouse, right? So how to remember those things? So there's some tricks. First, you don't try to remember anything of them, just use them, right? It's simply like the first time when you how to learn typing. You're not gonna like remember all the positions of each key. What you do is you just type them if you remember. If you don't remember, you checked where is the position of the key, and after several days, it's simply become your muscle memory, right? It's just like that. So don't like make yourself, give yourself too much pressure about remember those things. What you're gonna do is just, if you remember, you type those commands yourself. If you don't remember, you check them. So you find a place to search it. But the thing is like how to search those commands if you don't know them. There are several ways, right? The first thing is, this is a very important command called man. It represents menu. So for any command, if you put a man before that, it will show a menu of that command. So it will show you all the explanation of all the options and what you can do with that command. So this is a pretty important command, very general command, can use before almost all the commands. The second one is an option. So for each command, if you type --help, usually it will show a bunch of things which can help you how to use this command. And third thing, sometimes you don't even remember what the command is, right? You just know what you want to do. So at that time, you Google it, right? A lot of people really using Linux, and they can definitely help you how to find a command to solve your problem. So the basic getaway is don't try to remember everything. Just use them, and you can learn them sooner and faster than you think you can. So now we have a lot of tools already. We can like create files. We can move a bunch of files from here there. So the next step is, sometimes in the CCR you want to change the configuration, right? You want to create some new files. You need to type things inside of that. So the next step is text editors. We need to like change some files, and this one is very essential. So there are actually many choices of text editors in Linux. And there are two of them actually is very, very famous. And I don't know if there's anyone here have an idea about the names of those two. What? No. What? Yeah, Bing and Emacs. Those are like the most popular two, and they have very long story. So they're popular to the extent that, like, according to Wiki, they was one of the original holy wars in free software community. The supporters of two different groups like attack each other. They support their own like editors, right? And also, even more ridiculous is that there are two parody religions called Church of Emacs and called of V. So it's like two religions. So the main purpose is trying to attack the other group. So that's the reason why those two are so like famous. Also, like people have to make a choice, like have to make choice between them. I don't know. But both of them are actually very heavyweight editors, so you have to take some time to get used to. They have some philosophies there. You need to learn them, spend some time. So Nano, on the other side, actually is like the easiest to use and learn. So today we're gonna learn this one. So it's really easy to use Nano. And in future sessions, Vim will be introduced. But if you're Emacs supporters, don't find me. So Nano, how easy is Nano? It's like I spent like 70% of the slides just saying some stories, but you can learn Nano just with three things in mind. First thing is, if you use Nano, type Nano, and without anything, it will create a new file. And second thing, you remember if you type Nano with a file name, if that file name exists in current path, then you will open that file. If that file doesn't exist in current path, you will create a new file with that name. So this is two ways to open Nano. And after that, once you open that, you just type things inside, and all the commands are in the bottom of the app, and where this symbol means control. So I think we can try to do some practice. Just open a nano, do it here. So just type nano, and you open it, right? So once you open it, you just type things you want. And everything you need, all the options you need is down here. So there's a lot of options here. Like you want to exit the app, you want to write out, you want to read different files, you want to replace. So this symbol, as I said before, it means control. So like if you want to exit this file and save this file, you just Control X. And it will pop up this thing. It says save modified buffer. Do you want to save that? If you want to save this thing, you just yes, right? You just type Y, and it says you need to give it a name. You just type the test1 and enter. You exit that, and you also put a string there. So let's see. I list everything I have in current folder, and there shows the test1, right? We can open that nano test1, and that is the hello world we have before. So basically, it's a very simple text editor, and it can help you finish those simple jobs you want to do. Usually you want to change a config file, you just use it, open that, and change and save. So that's it. So any questions about Nano, or everyone already got it? It's a very simple one. Well done, well job. Good job, right? We finished the second part. We know all the operations in file systems. Now you have the freedom of go to different folders, create different things, and even open them and edit them. And you know how to do them like in multiple files together instead of just one by one. So next step is how to run jobs in CCR. So I call it CCR operations. So let's see it. So I remember the first session, I explained a little bit about what is CCR. But if you want to run jobs there, you have to go deeper to get a more complex, more deeper perspective about what is CCR. So basically, the CCR is a group of computers connected by network. So it's not just one computer, but because they connected together, so it becomes a more powerful machine. So when you have so many computers, there must be a good way like to manage them, right? So there are two layers of CCR. The first layer is called clusters. So cluster is just a group of computers. So this is first layer. You have this cluster, that cluster, and in each cluster you have different partitions. Also, partition is just like a group of computers. And in each partition, what you have is different node. And here, one node is like a single computer. It has their own CPUs and memories like that. So for our, there's one thing is like, even though they have so many computers, but actually they use a shared file system. So you're not gonna see for each computer, they like have a separate file system. Actually, you use the same file system. So that's the reason why using CCR, you feel like it's a big computer. But actually, it's a group of different nodes, different computers together. So for our department, what we are using is this one. So the cluster name is MAE. So the partition name is ISAC. ISAC, I think I call it ISAC. And in this ISAC, in this partition, we have 12 different nodes. That means 12 different computers. And that is their name, right? From 07 to 18. So that exactly 12 computers. And there's one more thing we need to know. There's one special computer in CCR that is login computer. So this is different from all the nodes you're using here. This is the place where you, when you log in, actually you log into the login computer. You're not directly going to any compute nodes. So since CCR is so have like some structures, so there's actually several different ways you can run job in this environment. So let's see. There's actually 3 ways. The first thing is look at this picture. Like if I'm a user, then what I really log into is this login computer. And there's a big cluster. This is cluster for our department, and there's a 12 nodes. This is like the nodes that really can do the computation. So the first thing is, of course, you can run jobs here, right, in the login computer. So this actually is a very good testing environment because it's just like in your own computer. You just, what you do is run the command here. So it's a good testing environment. But the thing is, it has very restricted time limit. I remember it's like just 1 or 3 minutes. It's very short. So if you have a testing instance, maybe spend 5 minutes to have the results, then probably this is not a good place to run that job. And also the other thing is because a lot of people share this login computer, so the computation power cannot be very high. And the second place you can run the job is here. So from the login computer, just like from your own computer, you connect to the login computer. Actually, you can do one more jump. You from the login computer jump to one of the nodes. And at that time, like your terminal actually is in this environment. And of course, you can run job here, right? Run job instead of here, you can run job in that node. So this is the second way. We call it run jobs in a node interactively. So the good thing about this is actually you can specify the time limit. It's not so restrictive. And second thing is, of course, you have high computational power. And third thing is like, this is not a good thing because you can only run single script at a time compared to the third way I'm going to introduce later. And this is also like bummer. Once you lose connection with the computer, then your job will directly be canceled. So it's not a really good environment for you to run jobs. It's more like a testing place and for some special testing requirements. For example, you want testing a job and this environment is not so powerful for you, then you want to run testing here. And third way is instead of using a specific node, we just give our job as a script to the job scheduler, I think. And you can run the jobs in the partition by the script. And in this case, you also can specify time limits. It's a good thing. You have very high computation power. You use several nodes together. And you can submit an array of scripts compared to here. Just you can do it one by one. Then this is a much better choice. And of course, it will never be affected by connection. So even you close your connection, the job will be still running there. So this gives us very good running environments. And the one problem is that compared to this way, the second method, there's no interactive environment. So you cannot like see the job is running there. But actually we have some commands help you to like visualize the status of your jobs. And we're gonna talk about that later. So basically, there are 3 ways of running them. Running your jobs in CCR, and each of them actually have different like advantages and drawbacks. So what we're gonna do is like hello world, right? It's everything, the first thing you're gonna do. So we're gonna run hello world in 3 different ways. So the first thing is, of course, we need to prepare the hello world file. So I'm gonna do it in my computer. If you can, you can just follow me. Open terminal, connect to CCR. What? So right now I'm in CCR, right? I'm in CCR. So the first thing is create a hello world file. I'm gonna use nano code. So you simply use print. We're gonna use Python here. So hello world, and you save it. Now in this folder we have a hello world py, the Python file. So the first thing we're gonna do is the easiest one, is how to run this hello world in the login computer. So right now I'm in the login computer. So to run that hello world is very easy. You just use Python and hello world. So you got this one. So this is the first way of running a job in the login computer. It's a very good testing environment. It's simple, right? You just write code and use Python. So we finished the first two steps. So anyone have some question about the first one, how to run the job in the login computer? Everyone got that. So the second way is how to run hello world in a node interactively, right? So the first thing is we want to jump to a computer node, instead of staying in the original place, which is a login computer. So this command will help us to jump to a computation node. So we have, the command is f-i-s-batch. And after that are all the options. So here we just take a close look for each options. So the first one is just specify the name of the cluster, right? Cluster equal to MAE. The second one is specify the partition, it's ISAC. The third one is says that how many nodes you want to use. So the node is, remember we have 12 nodes. So each node is like a computer. And fourth one is how many tasks you want to use how many tasks you want per node you want to use. I think it maybe means like for each node, I remember there is one computer, they have 12 CPUs. And I think this means like for each computer, how many CPUs you want to use to like run your job. All right, this is this option. And the time is time limit, this is 5 minutes. And exclusive means like you want to grab that node instead of share with others. So this is the command that you can jump into a computer node, and I'm gonna do it here. So right now, where I am is this case. You can see it says Vortex 1. This is login computer. So I'm gonna use this batch. And let me see what's there. Clusters equal to MAE. Partition equal to ISAC. Nodes equal to 1. And tasks per node equal to 12. Time equal to 0. 0.5. Exclude. Yes. So after you type this command, it will try to help you to grab one of the nodes. We're gonna wait some time.
I think everyone's trying to grab a node and ask that question.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Do not type this thing. You just remember this thing because there's only 12 nodes. If all of us put the same thing, then we just like try to compete with the resource. So basically, after it really give you a node, what you're gonna see is this part will be different. So this part will be the name of the new computer you're using. And at that time, basically you just run the hello world because it takes some time. Let me see how many nodes you are using.
Six of the 12 are
6?
taken.
6. So I think I can still do that.
8 through 8 and above are open.
Then I think it's just wait some time we can still get these nodes. So basically this is just like the SSH command you're using in your own computer, help you like connect your computer to the login computer. This help you connect the login computer to a specific node. Right? So after that, what you see here is a new environment. It takes too much time, but this is the second way of running it. Okay. Let's open a new window. So let's wait it for some time and we go to do the third part. Mm-hmm.
You don't have CCR dispatch system. No, you have to. So, trying to get back on CCR. You're allowed.
About this one?
No, I don't think you have to.
You cannot access this. I don't think you can access. Oh. Now, right now I connected to this one. So it says I need to provide the password. So let me. Cool. No. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. So now I log into that environment. So everyone can see that. So if you use that command, use this command. Take some time. You're gonna go to this place. And the first thing the difference is here. So here is CPU P26 and 7. So it's a different computer right now. You're using a computer node instead of the login computer. So you have an interactive environment. That means what you can do is exactly the same. If you want to run your script, you have hello world in the same folder. You just run it, Python hello world. So it seems like we are doing the exactly same thing, but it's not. We are using a more powerful machine doing this job. So this is the second way of running your script interactively. So right now we're gonna use the third method. So we already go over the first two methods, like running it in your login computer, and the other thing is running it in computer nodes. The third method is running hello world in partition by script. So there are also two steps. The first step is to create a script file. We call it test.batch, I think. And the second one is just use this batch command to run that batch file. So the most important thing is how to create this batch file, right? So this is an example of doing that. So it seems like a lot of lines, but if you really look at it, it's just put all those options here into here. So basically, there's no difference, but we can still see some differences. The first thing is like there's a weird line here. So the name of this is called shebang. I think the name is shebang because you have hash and you have a bang. So this is called shebang. So the meaning of this thing I'm going to introduce in the advanced courses. So in this, you just remember when you create a batch file, you always put this at the first line with the exact same thing, being bash. So after that, we have almost the same thing. We have cluster equal to MAE, partition equal to ISAC, and this, the hash and sbatch is just like a string that when you run this command, they will like parse this file to get the option. So for each option you have here, you put it here with the hash sbatch before that. And also we have some new options we haven't seen before. Some of them, the first thing is the job name. So this, you can use any job name you want here. And you have some mail options. You can like which email account you want to send the email. And like what kind of events you want to get notification, right? So it's just those two lines means. And after that, you have output and error. Oh, also I didn't mention that if you have a hash, except those two situations, if you have a hash before, then you have a comment. So it means it doesn't really use as a script. So for the last two lines, we don't have to look at them right now because I have a hash before that command. So it's basically just a comment here. So those two things actually is pretty important. So I mean the output and the error. The reason is that sometimes when you run a job and you find out it will like ended without unexpectedly. So the reason is you didn't really create those folders. So the meaning of this thing is like when you run your script, right? Sometimes it will have some errors or output. Like if you have print there, it will output. So you need to create a folder to let this command to write those output in those folder. So those two things are very important. If you don't add them, then probably you cannot really run your job. So it's also very simple. So what you do is if you have console here, then .console, you just create this folder in your environment, like what I have here. I think I already have the console folder here, so I don't have to create this manually. But if you don't have that, you just create this folder.
Could you explain why you need an output file when you use sbatch as opposed to when you're just calling Python?
Yes. So if you like run Python, so we have the print, right? We have the print hello world. So if you do it interactively, then it's gonna print on the screen, right? So can directly have the result. But if you run it in the script, the whole job is like doing in the background. So you cannot see the like output on your screen. So what this thing gonna do is like you specify a folder, and it can create a file in that folder and with output. You know what I mean? Like if the output is hello world, then you specify the output should be in this folder. Then the result will write it into a new file here, and ending with .out. So also when you run your script, sometimes maybe there's errors happens, right? In that case, the error will go into the same folder with a different suffix. All right, so that's the reason you have to specify those two lines. and you need to create a corresponding folders as you wrote here. So basically, the whole thing is similar. You just specify all those options and with some extra options. And after that, what you put into the command line, you just put into here. It's exactly the same thing when you're doing the interactive. So I'm gonna still try the same thing here. Let me see that. I think I already have test.bat. So this is my test file. You can see it's basically the same. We have all those options. We have Python and run this stage. So this script you run when you type in the command line, but you just put it into a script file. And this is the first step. You make such file, and in the second step, what you do is use sbatch and run this task. Before that, let me go into the console, remove everything. Remove everything. No. I just remove everything. Let me think how to get back. So let's just type everything. Yeah. Sometimes things happen. We use nano and type exactly the same thing. First line is shebang, right? And bin bash. I'm gonna introduce what is this later, and you just type everything. Gonna use bin. I'm not gonna type out all things. It will like spend the whole class to type those things. And we have actually template for this thing. I'm gonna upload that later, and you can just copy the template and add your own command there. So let's go to slides. I'm sorry I deleted those things. I cannot like show you guys how to run this. But basically, you just have this file, right? You make this file and run this thing. You run batch, and it will gonna submit this job to the like computer nodes, and it can help you to solve this thing. So after this, we already know like how to run Hello World in 3 different ways, and you can run your own script. But when you really run your own script, there are sometimes it will be more complicated. The reason is that sometimes no. Go on. Okay, so I said before that the one good aspect about using the script is that you can run several different things at the same time, right? Instead of random one by one. So the way of doing that is that you still have the same thing. You have a file, you have a list of instances, and they only differ in the number. Like you have a hello world 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are all the instances you have. So instead of running them one by one, you want to run them together. Submit the job in batch, right? So what do? You need to edit something in the script. And after that, you do the exactly same thing. You just submit the job. So the differences is in this file. So notice 2 things. The first thing is in here. Instead of directly saying that I want to run Python this file name, but I use after HW and before the .py, I use a $sign with brackets, and there's a variable name called Slurm Array Task ID. So this is, you can consider this as a variable. So where's the value of this variable? The value of this variable is from this thing, array from 1 to 4. So that means when we submit this job, so they will replace each number here to the variable here. And it's gonna run this script 4 times, and you can do it in batch. So there's one problem when you use this trick is that, for example, if you have 100 of instances, then it will like use all those resources. You will use like 12 nodes, right? But if there's someone others also want to use some of the nodes, then they cannot, right? They need to in the queue. So there's a little bit like convention between people when you're using this. You always do not use all of those nodes. You left some of the nodes for the others. So the way of doing that is you specify which of the computer nodes you do not want to use. So this means exclude from 13 to 18. That means I do not use those computers. All right. So this method can help you to run a bunch of jobs together instead of one by one. So I think that's it today. And
are there any questions?
The folder instances have to be in the same folder in which we have these .sh, right?
Yeah, a good question. So how to specify the folder is this thing, right? What you have is like, it's the relative path I introduced last time. So you from current folder instance HW, then that means you need to put all those things in the current folder. You have an instance folder, and after that you put all those files in those things. Yeah.
The other thing too is just a quick note. When you're running scripts interactively, as soon as you run it, the job is running.
Mm-hmm.
But when you submit a batch like this, it's a CCR is a queue
yes.
of computers. So once you do this batch and you send this job up, it's waiting in line to get on a computer. So if you go to your output folder right away, nothing might be there right away.
Yeah, it will take some time.
And you have to wait until your job gets on. So
do you get some notice when your job is like?
You can with the emails. Also, there's a command called SQ.
I will introduce that next time.
But there's a way to specifically, once you submit a job, it'll tell you what your job ID is, and you can actually track the status of your job.
Yes. Yes. I'm gonna like cover that part in the next session. Yes.
Okay. I'm just waiting to connect how because I'm not from this department, so you need for me to connect to the whole CCR, but I'm just waiting. But for example,
use the dispatch command. You mean?
Oh, he wants to exit. Yes, I want to exit because I need really to be connected. I don't know how to exit. For example, in the middle of the board,
right. Is there? I usually just close the terminal. But is there an actual command? If it's use a control C.
What is that?
Try control C.
You want to stop that job?
Stop. He called dispatch and I'm trying to connect.
Yeah, you can use Control C. Or you just type exit, then it can go out of that.
It's running, so it's
not.
Yes, no, but
Control C works.
Yeah, Control C works. It kills that job.
But like for exit.
No, you need to use Control C. It's like ending that job. So if there's no other questions, then I think that's today's class. And next class, I think we can finish all those basic stuff and we can go to a little bit about advanced stuff. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We're going to hold the next session a week from today at the same exact time. We'll send out an email.